Hey everyone, this is our third edition of Facebook Live for our Farm Truck Friday with Buddy. So I'm going to turn it over to him. You're on, Buddy.
Okay, great. If you want to go on that side out. Welcome to the Chalet Nursery. This is our fifth Farm Truck Friday. June had 5 Fridays in it. It's good for paydays. It's good for Farm Truck Fridays. We have a special treat for you here today. Every once in a while in a rotation comes a Japanese maple, and everybody's been jonesing for Japanese maples. This is the week that we bought 4 beautiful Bloodgood Japanese maples in 7 gallons of roots. There's 4 to go around. If you really want one, then I ask you to just kind of share. They're spaced out evenly, so there shouldn't be too much bloodshed. Bloodgood Japanese maple is one of the cold hardiest, most rock solid of all the Japanese maples that we can grow in the Chicago climate. It's beautiful. Everyone has its own personality. If you fall in love with a great big one, get a great big one. If you fall in love with a little one, then look to see. Basically, they are more upright and they flare out. I've seen them kept as small as 7 by 7. I've seen them grow in as large as 20 feet tall and 20 feet wide. Nice, open, and wispy. They're purple. They can be bronzy purple some years if the spring comes along and locks in the bronzy stage. They usually get a little suntan and turn on full-on cordovan, the color of penny loafers. So if you think of it, penny loafers, and every once in a while, if you see a little bronze in there, that happens to be a particularly weird spring that locks in some of the greenish as it's emerging. They have little cute little red flowers that ripen into little samaras. Samaras are the little bi-winged helicopters down underneath there. That's one of the pretty things in the springtime. So you put them in a special spot. If you have a spot in your garden for a Japanese maple, don't waste it on something humdrum like a crab apple. Now, crab apples are very variable. That takes sunshine. This wants to be in dappled shade or shade. It wants to have some relief. It can be out in the sunshine. You can break some rules with it sometimes, but dappled shade is its ideal location. It wants good drainage, so don't put it in the lowest spot. If there's some place where the water in your yard goes lower and drains out when we have a heavy rainstorm, then that's good. You can keep the Japanese up on higher ground. You want to see it from your garden, so don't smash it right up against just 3 foot outside your house unless that's the only place you can put it. But put it into the yard where you can see it from a couple different directions, out into it, through it. In a little patio, townhome garden, it's amazing. It makes one patio all on its own. This, maybe a little azalea, maybe a little boxwood, and one hosta, and you're set. So, Bloodgood Japanese maples, they're grafted. Down below, they're just a boring Japanese maple. Up above a certain point on the trunk, right here on this one, that's the graft where it's Bloodgood Japanese maple above. You want to plant it by digging a hole twice as wide, mixing in a little bit of compost, putting on a little blister, maybe 1.5 inches or 2 high, just a soft blister, not a berm, and then mulching it. I treat Japanese maples to a little bit of a treat. That's hardwood. Instead of hardwood bark mulch, I treat them to pine bark mulch. It just degrades down in and decomposes to a fine powder like coffee grounds. It's an extra special treat. It is a diva, so treat it like a diva. Okay, 4 of those are regularly priced at this size at $150 for $100 today. Second up, for shady gardens, let's go to checkered cab hosta. Checkered cab hosta has what we would call corrugated foliage. It's not just ribbed, but it's corrugated in the other direction. It's crisscrossed in the other thing. If you think of the old-fashioned, big, blocky cabs in New York, Chicago in the old days, with the little checkered, black and white checkered on there, that's where it gets its name. It happens to be one that's medium size, so a leaf that's about 8 by 10, like a sheet of paper. It'll grow about 18 inches tall, so just a little bit below your knees, and it has violet-colored flowers. So when these flowers open up, they're going to open up to a real soft violet purple. Just beautiful. Nice short stocky stems on it, and it'll get anywhere from 30 inches wide to 50 inches wide, depending on how much room you give it. So this is one of those that's a shrub in a can. So like we had in the past weeks, You can feel this stock full of roots in here. I would divide it this fall. I would divide it next spring. Double your money. Because it's collector's one, it's rare-ish. Then the price on that regular price is $45, $30 today. So special garden. Also, another nice feature is along with Hosta Sum and Substance, this bright yellow foliage is an indicator that it has some sun tolerance. I wouldn't necessarily put it out in full blazing sun, but if you have a place that's sunnier than most hostas would be, this is a hosta for you. Sum and Substance would be one, checkered cab another. All right. Let's see. Moving on. For shade, to part shade, Bloomstruck Hydrangea. Oh, Endless Summer. Endless Summer Hydrangea. Endless Summer Hydrangea will grow belly button high. It'll grow about 3 or 4 feet wide. It was one of the first ones that came out by the marketing people, the Endless Summer people. It reblooms reliably as long as you do it a couple of things. You don't put it in a place where it's got to really compete with tree roots. Now, shade comes from tree roots, so when you plant it, you've got to be able to hack out a nice big circle. I dig twice as wide, 3 times as wide if I can. If you find a big tree root, move it over a little bit. Into that big wide hole, I incorporate about 3 parts of cotton burr compost or leaf compost or your own organic compost from your banana peels. Put that in there, 3 parts to 10 parts, backfill the soil. In our soil pH in Chicago, it's going to be pink. If you love pink, just don't do anything else. If you'd like to have purple, or you would like to get blue, blue is the holy grail for blue hydrangeas. Then you would add 1 scoop of sulfur mixed in with that soil, so the sulfur's down low in the ground. It's going to encounter aluminum ions, and it's going to encounter a lower pH, an acid pH, and that'll turn it purplish. If it's still not coming out as purplish or blue as you want, then we have 2 products. We have Blue Magic, which is aluminum sulfate. That guarantees you're going to have some aluminum in it and the sulfur to lower pH. That you use sparingly. So 1/4 cup in that. There's some directions on one of the signs. Basically, 1 cup of sulfur, 3 parts to 10 of compost, and then it's another one of the shady divas that I give shredded pine bark instead of shredded hardwood bark mulch to. The pine bark doesn't make the soil acidic. The pine needles don't make the soil acidic. It's the sulfur that drops the pH. So beautiful. In this particular crop, we have very little aluminum sulfate tossed in the potting soil. So you see a blend of soft purples and soft pink. Wonderful. Those are, price on that shag was Endless Summer, or the $40, regularly $65, so $40. So fall in love with an Endless Summer, give it fertilizer. The fertilizer we would do would be Dr. Earth's Bud and Bloom in the fuchsia bag. A couple of cups at planting, a couple of cups every 2-3 weeks. Very good. Now moving on to another plant. This is Sedum TRex. For a lot of years we've been using sedum or stone crop called Autumn Joy. You know what Autumn Joy is? It's a big beautiful leaf of broccoli, head of broccoli, big and round, and it's got this beautiful, beautiful lima bean green color for the first part of the year. Well, TRex, if you look at the leaves of TRex, can you imagine, you know the big dinosaur down at the museum, the Field Museum? Well, if you imagine the top and lower jaw of a TRex clomping like that, that's where it gets its name. There's teeth on the edge of this. It's succulent. It holds its moisture inside its tissue. So you do not need to put it in a sprinkling system where it's going to get water every other day. Actually, would actually harm it more than anything else. It really doesn't like to be out by the salty street, because the salty street is where that takes its salt into the tissues, and that's difficult for something that's succulent. So keep it up in a nice well-drained area where you don't water that much. Sunshine, sunshine. TRex grows a little bit larger than Autumn Joy. So it would be just a little bit above your knee, maybe mid-thigh in height. Big, one thing would grow, 24 or 30 inches wide. What it does in the fall, it goes through a pink flowering stage that we can enjoy. Very beautiful, bright pink flowers. That's where it's got pollen, so you'll see it attracting bees. And when that pollen stage is gone and into the winter, it ripens into a beautiful cinnamon seed head. So that cinnamon seed head is something that you can leave up all winter long. It's actually gorgeous. The Sedum Autumn Joys. This we got 3 gallon big shrub. Instant. It is $15. Regularly $25.
So, I'm sorry, buddy, did you say it's a brown flower?
As it ripens.
As it ripens. Okay.
Yep, a real nice ruddy brown. Okay, we have Alstroemeria. This is a tree. Sometimes we bring you something that's like an herb or an annual or a vegetable. This week we have a variegated leaf Alstroemeria. Alstroemeria you would buy in the cut flower section at the florist or cut flower section at the grocery store. It has a long-lasting value in a vase. So this flower lasts for days and days and days. I don't want you to think of it as a perennial, but as a tender perennial. Really think of it as an annual, but more than an annual. It's an annual that is free flowering all season long. Put it in sunshine and you'll have long stems with this beautiful combination of pale yellow and kind of rosy red flowers on there. The more you cut and put in vases, the more it's going to flower. Because it flowers a lot, you'll fertilize it with something slow and steady, like Miracle Grow Blossom Booster would be awesome for it. But plant it down in the ground. If you get lucky, it might come back next year, but usually Chicago winters knock it back. So we're selling it $10 in a 1 gallon pot as an annual. Spireas. Spireas are a huge selection of garden plants. So the birch leaf spireas have 2 unique things going for them. This is Glow Girl birch leaf spirea. And Glow Girl has a leaf on it instead of the long pointed tooth leaves like Japanese spirea or the lacy looking ones like bridal wreaths. It has beautiful little lobes that are about the size of your thumb. Glow Girl is green down on the inside, but the new growth is bright golden yellow. Chartreuse, as pretty yellow as can be. There are 2 flavors. Tor is a green-leafed birch leaf spirea, and Glow Girl is the yellow-leafed one. When it gets mature, let's see if we can see a picture of it. Can you see down into these stems? As soon as those stems get thicker around than your index finger, they get peeling bark on it, just like a teeny tiny birch tree. So that's where it gets the other part of its name, the birch-leafed spireas, from the peely bark on that. It will get 3 minutes. We're going to be going good today. So birch-leaf spirea, awesome fall color. The fall color on this is glorious orange. It has green and yellow, and it's going towards a deep orange-red. So beautiful fall color, especially in sunny gardens. It'll be adaptable to a part-shaded garden as well. Size, I've seen it kept somewhere around here, kitchen table height, and I've seen it grown up to about armpit height. So somewhere around in there, very light trimming, very carefree plants. Strong and stiff, and easy to love. The blueberries. This is 4th of July weekend, right? So as American as blueberry pie. Red, white, and blueberry. If you think of blueberries, and you think of their value not only for their flower and their fruit, but for their fall color. Blue crop is cultivar that we grow up at the farm. It grows in acidic soils. It would grow good on the East Coast. It would grow good in the western part of Michigan. So to make it think that it's in those places, we acidify the soil with sulfur regularly, because our pH is always trying to bump it back up into the alkaline range. So you are going to dig a hole for any blueberry, put it in sunshine with some elbow room, say to get at least 4 foot high and 4 foot wide. And then dig 50% pine bark or pine fines, 50% of your garden soil, mix that together with a cup of sulfur, and then at about 1 month intervals, peel back the mulch, put down a cup of sulfur on the soil. Keep dropping that back down through. They flowered very nicely, they fruit very nicely, and they fruit even more heavily if you put another cultivar in. So inside the store, at regular place, we have North Crop and Duke and Patriot blueberries to match with this blue crop. The blue crop is on sale today for $25, regularly $45. Come in, see us in October. In October, when the leaves are bright red, it's stunning, glossy, thick leaf. Love this. Hate to take any of them back up to the farm. Okay, we're almost at time. Let's see, what did I leave anything off? I don't think I did. I think we got everything today. So they're going to, I'm going to thank you again for coming to Farm Truck Friday. The gates will be open in a little bit. Put your plants that you love on a cart, take them into the nursery office, and the cashiers are going to know the prices. Price tags are also on this little cardboard signs back down here. Any questions on planting or culture, just ask David or I. Thank you very much. I think we're ready to go. Help yourselves.
Thanks, Mike.
Buddy, can I ask you about that tree right there? I didn't get
Yeah, they're not going to last very long. Okay, go in there, put your hands up. Bring your hands up, put your hands up. Heart chain. That's what it is you want it. Heart chain. Let it smell go in. Just let it feather up into space. Anywhere from 7 feet to 20 feet by 20 feet. It's very adaptable. Just let it, put it out there somewhere where it's not going to be cool. If you want to coax it in to be a little bit smaller, then you do a very light pruning by cutting it back.
one last question.
Yeah. We deliver on specific days.
Thanks, Bud.
And you could
Thank you. She thought she'd come to find you. We were talking about you. Like, I played tennis, and one of the ladies that we met tennis and I were saying how we would like come over and see him. And you're like a superstar around here.
okay, last name is spelled
Okay, we're going to sign off from Facebook Live and Farm Truck Friday. We're actually going to start this back up with Tony Fulmer at 10 o'clock. From 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, he's going to talk about hydrangeas. So feel free to come back and join us at that time. Thank you.